Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to Sea Life Sunshine Coast. My name is Sam, and today we're going to be talking about our beautiful ocean tunnel. We have some amazing critters in here. I will be interrupting myself a lot because they won't keep still for me, but we're going to have loads of fun. Now, here at Sea Life Sunshine Coast, I'm an education officer, and that means if you've ever come here before and had a sleepover with us, or if you've done a guided tour, then you may recognise me. And if you haven't come, well, next time you do visit, make sure you come and say hello. Okay, everyone, let's get started. So we're at the entrance to the tunnel here, and we've got quite a few critters already moving around us here. Amanda is filming, and I'm just going to point up to her. Amanda, have a look. We have Pallas. Now, Pallas is a grey nurse. She's our female grey nurse shark. You might be able to see her teeth in there, and if you can see that she has 5 rows of teeth. Now, sharks have a lot of teeth, and they lose up to 35,000 teeth in a lifetime. And that's because they don't have roots in their teeth like we do. They want to lose their old blunt teeth because they need nice sharp teeth to hold on to their food. Now, I know that Pallas is a female because she has 2 pelvic fins at the back there, but the males have 2 finger-like projections in between called claspers. So this is the same for all sharks and rays, and when we see a boy swimming past, I'll point it out to you. Now, down below on the bottom here, we have a juvenile black blotch ray. You can probably see the barbs on the tail if these 5 lines move out of the way. They are venomous creatures, but it's important to know that stingrays are not aggressive. They will defend themselves, however. So if you stood on one, he's going to be a bit upset. So all you need to do is shuffle your feet in the sand if you see one, and they'll swim away. Now, this one is a juvenile. The black blotch rays can grow up to 1.8 metres in size. Now, that's pretty hard to imagine, but if you think about mum and dad's bed, if it's a queen-sized bed, that's how big they can grow to. We have a treasure chest over here, and in front of our treasure chest, we have a potato cod. Now, he's one of the few different species we have in here from the cod species. Now, you can see he has faint black spots on his body. But if he ever gets excited or nervous, he can make those black spots come out really vividly, and that way he can frighten away his predators. We can't see at the moment, but behind the treasure chest is one of our beautiful wobbegongs, very well camouflaged. Here we've got a sweet lip passing. Now, we have different species of sweet lip, but you can see this beautiful one here swimming past, nice and close. All right, Amanda just captured one of our leopard sharks. Now, leopard sharks are a species that can actually rest on the bottom. Quite a few sharks don't have to continuously swim, and that's because they have little holes behind their eyes, very similar to the rays, and they're called spiracles. So they can rest on the bottom and continue to pump water over their gills. Whereas some sharks, like the grey reef shark that just swam past, he has to swim his entire life because he doesn't have those holes behind his eyes. Okay, sailing past now one of our more mature black blotch rays. And here comes our leopard ray again. Now, an interesting thing about the leopard ray, in the United States and some other countries, they call them they call them zebra sharks. Now, when you look at him, that's very confusing, but when they're actually born stripy. So zebra shark makes sense. But then as they grow older, they lose those stripes and become spotty. So here in Australia, we call them leopard sharks. Okay, Amanda, let's move on, see what we can see sailing past. Over here, we have one of our 2 beautiful giant gropers. We have Lola and Goliath. Now, the curve of the tunnel here makes everything look about 1/3 smaller than what it actually is. So to give you an idea about that, our Queensland giant gropers are around about 200 kilograms each. So that's a very big fish, and even bigger than our largest seal groucho. All right, so we'll move along and see what else we can see in here. We do have quite a few schools of fish in here. So behind me over here, you might see some golden trevally, just one species of trevally that we have. The juveniles actually have black stripes on them, but as they grow, they also disappear, similar to the leopard shark. And here's our other Queensland giant groper in the background there. Remembering that that fish is about 6 times bigger than the average 5-year-old. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about the stingrays. We have a couple actually sailing past. It looks like they're going to clash. Lucky they're squished up. Now you can see they have their gills underneath their bodies. Now that means that they are a type of ray. Sharks have their gills on the sides of their heads. So stingrays can actually rest on the bottom, and this is good because they're bottom feeders. So their mouth is underneath their body. So being able to lie down on the substrate or on the sand means that they can eat food underneath and on top of the sand. Now this one here, another female as you can see, so she's very large, and maybe you can see the barbs on the end of her tail. Here comes another one. Okay, so we're going to move a little bit further along. We could probably stand in this one spot for ages and just continue talking, but there's quite a lot to see. Okay, sailing above you now, you can see one of our male grey nurse sharks. So he's got those pelvic fins, but he's got those 2 finger-like projections in between as well. Now these sharks always have their mouths open, the grey nurse, and it does make them look quite scary. But they're not actually a scary shark. Here comes one sailing past. This is fantastic. So this is Pallas again, the female. And sadly, over the last 100 years or so, people have culled them because they've been frightened of them. But in the last few decades, we have actually done research with them, and the grey nurse is one of the most docile sharks, so they don't attack humans. And one of the reasons for sharks mostly not enjoying humans is because they taste like McDonald's. Okay, Amanda, coming back this way. As I mentioned, we've got quite a few schools of fish in here. We have red emperor, the golden trevally, tons. We have 5 lines, butterbrim, and if I see some of those, I will point them out. Okay, so we're moving along. This area of our tunnel is called the pelagic area. So pelagic is the area where the animals can swim from the surface and in through the water column. But as I said, some species, there's a tawny nurse just sailing past you there that Amanda's filming. He can actually rest on the bottom too, and that's because he's got those little holes behind his eyes. Now, there's always an exception to the rule with Mother Nature. White-tipped reef sharks don't have spiracles or those little holes behind their eyes, but they can rest on the bottom. And that's because they have worked out that if they open and close their mouths, they can pump water over their gills. Now, white-tipped reef sharks are also nocturnal. So you can see in here, we actually have a school of females in here, and they're all snoozing. Later on today, in the early evening, they'll get up and they'll start hunting for food. Can you see his mouth opening and closing there? You can see those eyes looking at us, and you can see the 5 gills that they have on either side of their body. So we have a few different species of sharks in here, and over here we have a little brown-banded bamboo shark. One of the smaller species, but you can actually see that spiracle or that little hole behind his eye. Okay, oh, we just saw Tsunami swim past. If we can capture her, that would be great. Tsunami is our longest living resident. She's been here since we first opened 30 years ago, and she's got plenty of life left in her. She's called Tsunami. It's a Japanese word and it means big wave, and that's because when she gets excited, when we have sleepovers and the kids start feeding the fish from above the tunnel, Tsunami comes up and does massive splashes on the top of the water. And there she is there. So she's a whiptail ray. She's got a very long tail. We all love Tsunami. Okay, so we do have a few different species of reef sharks in here. Grey reef sharks, the white tip, this one should be snoozing. And over in the background, I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a black tip reef shark. Now those grey and those black tip reef sharks haven't worked out that they can open and close their mouths, so they need to continuously swim their entire lives. Now when they want to rest, they shut down half of their brain and then they reactivate it after about 15 minutes and then they shut down the other half, all while still swimming 24/7. So boy, they sure would be tired, wouldn't they? Okay, so we've moved on into the coral cove. In here, because we're below ground, we have artificial coral because the sunlight can't come through to sustain natural corals. But we give them artificial coral so that they can swim and hide and breed in here. You'll be able to see our beautiful unicorn fish sailing past. Now, they're pretty easy to recognise. They do have a lovely horn on their heads. Now, they're a type of surgeon fish as well because they've got two barbs on the end of each side of their tail. Now we're going to move on to the next section of the tunnel now. It's called the Bay of Rays. We're going through a dark area. I'm not sure if you can see. My favourite fish is in here, but he's clearly hiding, Amanda, and I can't even see a glimpse of him. But he's beautiful, big, blue, 1 metre long, humphead Maori wrasse. Ooh. And he's come out. That's great. I don't know if you'll see him or not because he's in the dark area. He has big, fat blue lips and very bizarre teeth. But he's super handsome. In the light, if you could see him, he has beautiful markings on his body. So I do recommend Googling the humphead Maori wrasse. Now this is the last section of the tunnel. It's called the Bay of Rays. So in here we have two schools of smaller stingrays. We have the cow-nosed rays, which are the happiest stingrays around. You can see when they sail past, they're smiling at us. Now they're called cow-nosed rays because of course their noses look like cows. And of course we have the eagle ray in here as well. Now you will probably recognize the eagle ray because he stars in Finding Nemo as the school teacher, Mr. Ray. So yes, Mr. Ray is an eagle ray. The singing school teacher. So we're going to see if we can find him. I wonder, children, if you've ever heard of a shovel-nosed shark. Now, that's actually not exactly what they are, but they're shovel-nosed rays. And remember, their gills are underneath their bodies, then they're a type of ray. So you've got in front of you there Stumpy's girlfriend. Now, she's our female shovel-nosed ray. Her boyfriend is in here as well. His name is Stumpy and he only has half a tail, so it's easy for us to recognise them. Sharks and rays have a skeleton made of cartilage, so if we were fortunate enough to see them swimming over, we'd be able to almost see through their noses because of that cartilage. Cartilage is very similar to what our nose and our ears are made from. So Stumpy is a shovel-nosed ray and Stumpy's girlfriend, and they are truly beautiful creatures. Oh, here comes Stumpy. Perfect timing, Stumpy. As you can see, he only has half a tail. It clearly doesn't bother him at all. He's a perfectly good swimmer. And there you go. Bottom feeders, obviously. If they want to look for food underneath, they can go underneath the sand and find little crabs to grind up as well. So we're going to see if we can find some eagle rays in here, a few other different species as well, and we're almost at the end of the tunnel. Another unicorn fish over here, Amanda, isn't he beautiful? And we've got some tawny nurses in here. Here's a tawny nurse swimming past. And this one is a boy, so he's got those two claspers in between his pelvic fins. Beautiful species of fish in here. Ooh, and our little chubby puffer fish over here resting on the bottom. They've just had a feed, so he's lovely and content. He probably won't move for the rest of the day. Okay, boys and girls, so I hope you've enjoyed the ocean tunnel tour. I do hope to see you sometime soon when we reopen and you can come and see these animals in real life. They are truly incredible. Now, if you would like to, you can dive into our virtual aquarium. It's on www.sealifesunshinecoast.com.au, and we also have some educational toolkits for both parents, teachers and students and kids to have a look at. So go ahead and do that. Everybody have a lovely day and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.